He lives in Kiryat Shemona, it doesn't make a difference. Truma is edible all over the country. Truma is edible all over the country. Truma, like Bikurim, you can just take one little kernel of corn, you can take one nectarine, you can take one piece of pumpkin and give it to him. There's no measure. One exempts everything. Chazal came and said you should give a certain amount. Okay? You should give a certain amount. 1 second. Maser Rishon, Maser Sheni. Okay? You should give 2%. Midrabbanan, we should give 2%. That's Truma. After I took out the Truma, I have another tithe to take out. What is it? Maaser Rishon. Yonatan, little translation of the two words Maaser Rishon.
No idea. First, Maaser.
So you're thinking you have plenty of ideas. You just proved it to yourself. Maaser Rishon is the first tenth. If there's a first tenth, now I understand there is also a second tenth. The first tenth, meaning you took out 2% of the harvest. You have 98% left. You're now going to take out 10%. So 10% is what? 9.8% of what's left over. That you will issue to a Levi. Which Levi? Any Levi. You like Yossi Levi? Give it to Yossi. What do I care? You like Nachman Levi? Give it to Nachman. You like David Levi? Right? Give it to any Levi you want. You can eat it anywhere. Maaser Rishon, however, is not holy like Truma and Bikurim. Truma and Bikurim, wow, it's very holy. If I, as an Israelite, go and eat Truma, Mita Bidei Shamayim. It's like a spiritual death penalty. Don't eat Truma. Okay? If you're a Kohen, you're going to label it. And Yonatan may invite me over, and he has this Truma bread on top of the refrigerator. It says Truma. And when I come to his table, he honors me with he buys a roll from the Angel's Bakery and gives me. He doesn't give me his Truma bread. He can't feed me with his Truma. God forbid I should eat it. It's really holy stuff. Bikurim also, as a name of Truma, is very holy. Okay, we took out Truma and gave it to thee. We took out Maaser Rishon and gave it to thee. And now we have another Maaser, commonly called, David? Very good. Maaser Sheni, a second tenth. Another 10% left from the harvest. And how and to who do we issue Maaser Sheni? The answer is?
In the third year to orphan or foster.
No.
Or widow?
No.
Maaser
That's Maaser Sheni.
I know, so I said.
What, sir?
Take it to Jerusalem, eat it in Jerusalem. You do.
Very good. Which year, sir?
Fourth year. No,
First and
third.
second year, but that's...
So let's clearly say it. Our cycle is how many years? 7 years. Where the seventh year is called the right. We're now coming towards the end of our Shemitah year. All of us should start writing out the Prusbul, these documents that if you owe money or you lent money to someone, then it will not be nullified if you have loans. All the banks are writing proofs because they've lent out money and mortgages and so on and so forth. I'm sure you may have heard it from your rabbis. We still have another 2 weeks to do it before Rosh Hashanah. We're getting back to Maaser Sheni of the 7-year cycle. When do we start counting number one? After the Shemitah. And 2 weeks from now, when we go to the new year, Taf Shin Pei Gimel, we will start the first year of the next cycle. Now, Maaser Sheni, like you began saying, the following years, Shana Aleph, Shana Bet, Dalet, and Hey. Aleph, Bet, Dalet, and Hey. First, second, and fourth, and fifth years, we take aside Maaser Sheni. And like you said, Chaim, we bring it up ourselves to the holy city of Yerushalayim, meaning Yerushalayim inside the walled city. The walled city, God willing, will be sanctified by the High Court of Israel called the Sanhedrin. They're going to do the sanctifying of the walls, and that means anything that's holy. Let's say we have the Korban Pesach offering. We have the Korban Pesach offering, right? And now what do we want to do? We want to eat it. Lamb chop. You like eating lamb chops? I thought we're going to, God willing, maybe this coming year, we're going to have Korban Pesach lamb chops. We can eat it only within the in-walled city of Yerushalayim. The in-walled city of Yerushalayim. So too, eating Maaser Sheni. Only inside the in-walled holy city of Yerushalayim. Who? You. You can bring your friends. You hear? You know what? That he had such a tremendous yield in his field. He had hundreds and hundreds of tons. He comes to me and says, my Mercedes-Benz truck is stuck in the garage. I can't bring up this fruit into Yerushalayim. What do I do? So he called his local rabbi. And his local rabbi said, you know what? Transfer the holiness of the fruits to money, coins. Transfer the holiness. And then he got on he did this process called in Hebrew Pidyon. Where have we seen the term Pidyon? Pidyon Aben, the firstborn son, is so holy, right? So you're going to transfer the holiness from the fruits to the money. He gets on an Egged bus, goes to Yerushalayim. He invites me to a shawarma. No, shawarma I don't like this. He invites me to a nice bagels, cream cheese and lox sandwich, like we had last week. We didn't have lox last week, but he goes to the stores in Yerushalayim, and we sit and eat food and learn Torah. That's Maaser. Which years are left out?
Third and the sixth.
Shalosh v'shishit. The third year, Shlishit and Shishit are left out, and that's for another tithe called Maaser Ani. Ani. A widow, a divorcee. Orphans. A new family just made Aliyah. They have no backing, no family here. These Gerei Tzedek that just arrived from another country and they converted to join the Jewish people. They've yet to find work. All these and others can be candidates for Maaser Ani. Okay. With that knowledge, Mr. Michal Ari wants to raise a question or a point.
So this mitzvah about when the house made the end of the tithing.
We're about to learn it. Let's begin learning it, and then I'd love to hear your question.
Okay, good.
Thank you for your patience. Yes, Yoshua.
Who does the Maaser Sheni go to?
What is the proper answer? Yourself. You provide. So let's add an important point. Joshua asked, to whom is it go to? We answered, you bring it up yourself. It's for you and your family. What is the point? The point is the following. It says literally in the Torah here in the book of Dvarim, earlier a few weeks ago, quote, regarding the Maaser Sheni, and also to remember the name of a fourth year planting of a tree. What is it called? Neta Revai. Neta. What is a neta? I have a grandson called Neta. Neta is a planting from the word nitia, sapling. Neta is a sapling, the word lintoa, to plant trees. Revai, from the Hebrew word? Arba. A fourth year planting. What's unique about a fourth year planting of a fruit tree? No, what happened during the first 3 years? It's orla. What is orla? You're not allowed to eat it. It's closed. It's covered up. Okay? So to an uncircumcised male, he is an arel. As it says in Shemot chapter 12 regarding eating the Korban Pesach, quote, V'chol arel lo yochal bo. Any male Jew who is an arel may not eat it. He may not eat what? The Korban Pesach. Shemot chapter 12. The lamb chops. So, by the way, your humor is almost as good as mine.
Imitation is the best form of flattery.
Okay. Orla is the prohibition of a sapling in the land of Israel, sometimes also in Chutz La'aretz. We're not allowed to eat the fruit the first 3 years. What happens in the fourth year? Neta Revai. A fourth year plan. We have to bring all the fruits up to Yerushalayim. What do you see equal? What do you see similar? What is equal to what?
Maser Sheni.
Maser Sheni is equal to Neta Ravai. Can you repeat that term?
Neta Ravai.
Maser Sheni is equal to Neta Ravai is equal to. It's not a tongue twister yet. Okay, so now I want to relate to what Joshua asked 6.5 minutes ago. The purpose of to bring it up to Yerushalayim. Quote in the book of Devarim, maybe chapter 14, I'm not sure, I don't remember. Leman tilmad liyira et Hashem Elokecha. I repeat. Leman tilmad liyira et Hashem Elokecha. The purpose of bringing up Maser Sheni and Neta Ravai and eating Yerushalayim is to hang out in Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the city of Yirah, fear of God, the love of God, the city of Torah. Every farmer, or even in your yard, you have these fruits. The purpose God wants is to come to Yerushalayim. You check into Machon Meir for a shiur, a day here, 2 days, whatever, and you re-energize yourself. It's like replenishing your batteries to come to Yerushalayim, okay? So that would be the ultimate objective, Joshua, of these two items, Maser Sheni, Neta Ravai. Any questions before we begin to tackle this new subject of learning here, verses 12 and on?
Can I just clarify what Neta Rabbi is? It's four different types of fruit.
It's the 4th year sapling. After you planted, now it's in its 4th year. We couldn't eat it on any type of fruit tree. And now the produce has to be brought up to Yerushalayim. And it too, if you can, if your Mercedes-Benz truck is in the garage and you can't bring it up, so you do a pidyon. We transfer the kedusha, the holiness, from the fruits to the coins, to the monies. You had a question, Thomas?
How much is the quantity that you have to bring to Jerusalem for the Neta Ravai?
All of the fruits have to be eaten in Yerushalayim.
So it's different than Maser Sheni, because Maser Sheni
Is a tenth. You're right. That's right. Very good. Okay. Last call.
Questions?
No, that'll be the subject of this new subject that we're reading. Last call. Have you issued your tithe? Have you distributed after calling out the names? There's a last chance, okay? Sometimes as a teacher, you give a second examination for those that didn't pass the first one. Here in Israel, we call it in university Moed Bet, right? We call it Moed. Here's the second try. If you've not issued your tithes, last call. Let's start learning the Pshat. Tomorrow we'll learn even more. Pasuk Yud Bet, we're reading what you read beautifully before. Ki techaleh la'aser. See the words, please. Et kol ma'asar tvuatcha b'shana shlishit shnat ha'ma'aser. Techaleh. Vayichulu hashamayim ve'aretz. What does vayichulu mean? I'm going to say it on Shabbos night. Heaven and earth were completed, ended, finished. Ki techaleh la'aser. When you complete or finish tithing, et kol ma'asar tvuatcha, all the tithes of your grains, of your bounty, when? B'shana shlishit. In the 3rd year, shnat ha'ma'aser, the 3rd year, the year of tithing. Here it really means that we're talking about the 4th year. Huh? But we just read the 3rd year of tithing. Let's say this year is the 3rd year. Okay? This year is the 3rd year. What fruits will we be picking this coming October, November, and December? Olives?
Grapes?
No, grapes no. Grapes are ending right now. The mountain grapes are ending right now. Who knows the agricultural season of the land of Israel? Which fruits shall we be picking? This Perot Hadar, right? The citrus fruits. And they are?
Pomegranate, oranges.
Oranges.
Pomelo.
Pomelot, oranges. Grapefruits, lemons, and all these. All the Perot Hadar, the grouping is called Hadar. Okay, Pre-Eitz Hadar is mentioned where? Pre-Eitz Hadar is mentioned where?
En Vayikra.
Right, it is 23. It is 23.
23.
Right. It's amazing. I'm not going to compliment you. I don't want or else is jealousy. The Dutch are taking over here. Be careful, gentlemen. What is that pre-Eitz Adar listed in the Chumash? It's the etrog fruit. Etrog, yes, on Sukkot. That is called in the Chumash pre-Eitz Hadar. Hadar is beautiful, majestic. So we're getting off. We're going to be picking the citrus fruits in a few months from now. Are they Shemitah produce or not? Are they Shemitah produce?
Yes.
It's good that we're not going further because we have to understand some principles of Trumot and Masrot. Gentlemen, this morning, after praying, swimming, I went to the famous store in Beit El where they sell Shemitah produce, Otzar Haaretz it's called. A lot of the vegetables come from the southern Arava, the southern area, which we did not conquer in Temple period number 2. And all those products are called the treasury of the land, where neither are they heter mechira, nor are they holy with Shemitah. So I bought these vegetables, and because the laws of Shemitah are not applicable in those areas, and therefore I don't have to rely on the reliance called heter mechira, the sale of the land. I came home. Let's just say we're gonna, in a few months from now, I'm gonna come home with oranges. Are they or not, or can they or be Shemitah produce or not? Fruits of trees as opposed to vegetables, when we harvest our vegetables, after harvesting, does the obligation of tithing begin? I repeat, when we harvest vegetables, tomatoes, melafofonim, cucumbers, squash, zucchini, all these vegetables, only after I've harvested and picked them, I finished the work in the field, does the obligation of taking out Trumot and Masrot begin, tithing begin. That's not the case for the fruits of the trees. As the Mishnah says in Masechet Rosh Hashanah, we go according to Chanata. I repeat, Chanata for fruits of trees. And your question is, what is? That's a very valid question. And the answer may be the following. Can everyone now use your imagination? Close your eyes. You see this beautiful orange tree. Right now, this summer, you know what's happening? It's blossoming. Can you see those white flowers on the orange tree right now? And now you can open up your eyes, and what happened to the flowers of that tree? They fell. When they fall, that determines what year are we in the tithing cycle. Okay? If they fell June, July, and August, which I think is happening, then we're still in the year of Shemitah. Even though I'm going to pick them months later, next year in the winter, they will still retain the holiness of Shemitah. Why? What determines the fruits of the trees? Chanata. Chet, nun, tet, he. Chanata. Lachnot. So, really, when will I finish the 3rd year of the tithing process? In the 4th year. The mitzvah that we're about to learn, commonly called in the oral Torah, does anyone know what this mitzvah we're about to learn, what is it called? What is it nicknamed? Vidu. Vidui. Where did we see the word vidui? Even this morning. For those that confess to the sins, right? We have it in the Tachanun service, do we not? Yes? Vidui. This mitzvah is nicknamed Vidui Ma'asrot. And my question to you, please prepare for tomorrow, isn't Vidui in reference to I resent the fact that I sinned? I am confessing my sins? Isn't that Vidui? Is that the meaning of the word Vidui, yes or no? If so, why will this upcoming section be called Vidui Masrot? For this and more, in tomorrow's shiur.